video stating your name, your location, your phone number, and everything that you need to do. Okay, everything is on the flyer actually, so check all your flyers. Be careful. Put everything that you need to put in check so that before you send it to us. And you know, some people send the videos of their songs, then before sending us a message of all the location, the name, and everything that they need to attach it. Please, when you're doing the video, put all these things in the video. Start with your name, with your phone number, your age, your state of origin, current location, your song title, which is very, very important. We would like to know your song title. And then you do a studio headshot, and then the studio headshot is the one you can actually send differently. But when you do all these things, when you say your name, state your name, your state of origin, and all those things, then you sing your song in the video before you send to us. Then send us a copy of your headshot. That will be it. So please, we are waiting for you. We have of course we have quite a number of entries already, but you know, you are also a lucky winner if you participate. And if you don't, people might not know you. This is a chance actually for people to, you know, invest in the kingdom of God. Some people have these talents, but they are just singing in their closet. So this is a chance for you to open up, you know, to the world. Give the world what you have, and God is going to see you through. And the next one also is also a competition, the EICC. You know, we've been saying it. We are happy that, you know, the choir now has a chance to participate in competition. And then we are glad that people have been registering. So if you are a choir and you think you have what it is or what it takes for you to win this competition, you can also register, and it's just 5,000 naira. But later registration is actually 10,000 naira. But you know, the cash is actually a good is for the first winner is 500,000, second 250, and then the third winner is going to go home with 150,000 naira. Yeah, and then the last one I'll be talking about is eCamps 2022. If you were there last year, I'm sure you are eager to have this one this year. And then this one is going to be at the ECWA International Conference Center here in Jos from 14th to 17th of April 2022. So make it something, a priority for you to attend, because you know there are some things we really need to fix, to put in place in our churches, in our bands, in our choirs, in, you know, everything that has to do with us, especially the young people in the church. So if you want to grow yourself in whatever you are doing, this is the right time for you to do that by coming to eCamps. We have the conference, and then we have the media summit, where many things are going to be taught. Like practically, you are going to be taught a lot of things. And then we would have definitely the variety night, and then we would also have the resurrection concert. And all these things are things, you know, that would enlighten you the more, and then you still have fun in the presence of God. All right, that will be it on all our updates, and I will be going back to our guest in the studio today. Let me say you're welcome again.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, and Mr. Nathan, I would like you to talk about Evangel Art of ECWA, and then what do you think about Evangel Art of ECWA with everything that this body has been doing?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to be here. Evangel Art of ECWA, you can tell from the name that it's basically an avenue to harness the talents there are in ECWA. For me, I think about it on the basis of worship. Whatever we do in life, whether you are on a stage, in the marketplace, on the road, everything boils down to worship, because as a believer, as a Christian, our lives are supposed to shine the light. Like scripture would say in Matthew 5:16, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify God in heaven. So Evangel Art for me is an avenue or a tool where these talents are harnessed so that you can have an avenue to an avenue where these people who have these talents can express them. More so for me, it's a relevant tool in view of technology. What Equa has done is to cash in, so to speak. I'm using the word loosely, not in its direct meaning. To cash in respect to being relevant in terms of the available technology, to worship God. So basically, that's my thought about Evangel arts.
Okay, and then I want to music from then and now. You would definitely know that in Equa we have grown to a certain level. But then there are some places, that we are still lagging behind. What are those? Where are those places that you think we are lacking behind and we need to do better?
Well, I wouldn't say Equa as a denomination is lagging behind. I think as music in the church is seen differently from by those who are participants. Like I mentioned earlier on, as a believer, one of our purpose as believers is that we worship God, So when you come from that perspective, it doesn't matter if it's even music. It might be family life, it might be your business life, it might be in the marketplace. It doesn't matter. What matters is whether or not I am worshiping God. So when we come in from the perspective that this is worship, is that okay? It helps us groom our minds and give us an awareness of what to do. So for me, first off, with respect to what is lagging behind, what is lacking in the music ministry is the inability to see what we do as worship. Is that okay? What you do as worship. And basically, in simple terms, worship just means pleasing God. Is that okay? You ask yourself a question, am I pleasing God by what I am doing? Otherwise, you could explain why someone would not put effort to what he or she is doing, particularly with particular reference to singing. Is that okay? It doesn't differentiate that a singer is asked to sing or has an opportunity to sing, does not make her or him less than what the pastor is doing. You get me? It doesn't make the person a lesser category with respect to what the missionaries are doing. So what you are doing in essence.
They're also preaching to the world out there.
Exactly, that's the point. Is that okay? That's the point. So if you take it seriously, it will change your mindset and how to engage with the music ministry. So for me, first off, is the idea that we need to see the music ministry as a means of pleasing God. In other words, worshiping God. So when we come in from that perspective, it changes the whole avenue. Jesus Christ, speaking to the Samaritan woman, says, and God seeks them who worship him in spirit and in truth. Is that okay? You want to ask, what does that mean? One of the meanings you could get, worship God with the whole of your heart, your soul, your strength, and your mind. What it means is that you must put skill into it, you must put time into it, you must put commitment into it. You must study the word so that what comes out of your mouth with respect to worship, singing wise, is pleasing to God. It's connected to his will. Is that okay? Now, these are backgrounds from which the music minister and more should come in from. If you come in from the background that I'm here to entertain people, then you're wrong. Is that okay? It is not for your benefit. It is not for your benefit, singing. Is that okay? As long as it's within the confines of the church, your primary purpose is to please God. So you ask yourself, when you have the opportunity to sing, am I pleasing God? Is this message going to touch someone? Have I considered this message? Is that okay? Am I okay with the fact that I feel very, very led to do this song? So when we're coming from this perspective, I think by and large, it helps mold and shape what we do with respect to our preparedness. And that's what basically I see is lacking. To my mind, if we concentrate more and more on how that what we do is worship, it will change a lot of things. It will change a lot of things.
Yeah. And then, you mentioned how, the ministers are not less people than, what the EMS do or the pastor. But, sometimes it's more like we, the young people in the church, are the ones that are not really so serious with what we do, to the extent that these things are not really taken so seriously. Like, especially when, sometimes in the church, like, they don't really give you so much time. Yours might be different, but in some churches, like, the time is not really given to people. In fact, sometimes you'll see that in a church service, in the whole Sunday service, when there's no time, if they probably have something to do, you would see, okay, they'll say, band, today, please, we are sorry, you cannot sing. And it's like someone actually went to the church for him to hear, or for her to hear to hear all the songs that you're going to sing. And probably that would be the thing for the person for that day. And then all of a sudden, band is not singing. Because the songs, they just feel, okay, is it not just to sing? We are not, if they don't sing, at least people will still get saved, because people are going to be hearing the preaching. So I would really want, church services to, or church to really consider the fact that music is really important. People are facing a lot of things these days, and then sometimes people don't even want to hear the preaching. Is not like they don't want to hear, but they have heard enough. And then sometimes it's the peace that comes with the music that someone would want to just hear and then cry out his mind to God and all those things. So really, the church should consider that, and then make it a priority that Sunday services, music will not be removed at all in anything. No matter what is happening, music should still go on that day. And then, do you think appearance also contributes to how the church see the young people, especially the singers? We are equa, and then we have rules and regulation, how we appear and all. So sometimes as young people, we have this challenge of relating well with, especially the older people in the church and all that. Do you think that is supposed to be a challenge, or the spirituality of the person is what matters?
Appearance in the sense of how you look, I guess that's what you. Well, very much. It's a very, very crucial thing. You can't give what you don't have. Is that okay? There's this saying that goes, you'll be addressed as you're dressed. Is that okay? The way you're dressed is how you're going to be addressed. With respect to appearance, it is very, very key. You live in a context where the first impression matters. Is that okay? I'll still go back to the concept I raised earlier on. It's about worship. So you ask yourself, am I pleasing God by how I look? So you mean like, okay, am I pleasing God? That's the point. Am I pleasing God? So you mean God is not going to be pleased if I'm having like a dreaded hair, and then I'm trying to sing and I'm the spirit? Are you trying to say God is not going to listen to me? The point I'm trying to make is that it's a personal question you get to ask yourself. You get? It's a personal question. I'm going to a context. Am I going to be accepted? Is that okay? Am I pleasing God by how I look? Is that okay? Worship is the basics. There's no prescription. Do you get me? And how you should, whether my hair is braided, whether it's my dress is large enough. The idea is, and we know these things. We know these things. In our heart of heart, I'll give you a story. It is told about a lady who had this opinion that normally her dress is a matter of her personal life, and she's comfortable. Once she's comfortable with it, that's okay. Is that okay? But of course, with time, and this is what happens to a believer who wants to grow is a teachable person. A believer who wants to grow, it will tell in the person's life. With time, she grew to the point that she no longer saw the clothes she wore as a personal thing. It was a thing of ministry. Because what I say, what I do, when I do it, how I do it, how I appear, is all encapsulated in the idea of worship. Am I pleasing God? So much so that she took her clothes and said she wasn't going to wear it again. And then someone asked her, "Can I have it?" She said, "No, I'm not going to give these clothes to you. I'm going to burn them because if these clothes are not good enough for me, they're not good enough for you." So it tells in one's growth. When you are younger, the truth is you want to be free, live your life, they said.
And then you'll be thinking you're doing the right thing.
Exactly. But with time, and if you are actually growing in the faith, growth has a way of showing. It clarifies confusion. By the time you are growing in the word, you are growing and you are practicing and putting these things to use. You are shining the light. There are some things, the question of what I'm wearing becomes secondary. The primary thing you get to look at is whether or not I am pleasing God. You get me? Where you find yourself. In fact, there are those who wear babariga. If you wear only the inner one, they consider you naked.
Wow.
Yes, there are places where you go, they consider you naked. You must go with the babariga. A story is told of how that they needed to give a delegation to go and see a chief. They needed to give them orientation on how to dress. You don't dress anyhow to go and see a chief. What they planned, even wearing suit, was not allowed. You must put babariga to go and see a chief. Do you get me? So now, in those contexts, if you go with a carefree type of dressing, your message at first has been seen by your dressing, and therefore their minds are locked. So you must be very, very careful to rightfully interpret your appearances. So basically, that's why, for instance, Ekwa came out with what it came out with. Modesty, be modest in your appearance. So appearance is very, very key. Like I said earlier on, it is part of the ideation that as a believer, my primary goal is to worship God. Am I worshiping God by how I look? Am I worshiping God by my preparedness to sing? Am I worshiping God by the style of clothes I wear and other things? So basically, if you ask the primary question, about worship, it guides every other action that follows afterward.
And talking about, anytime I'm talking about this kind of topics, I like to refer back to, there was a time, the CEO of Evangel out of Ekwa, that is Engineer Tony Nakali, made reference to one story like that, where he some people and then their lifestyle. And then those guys were actually very, I think a particular guy was actually very good at what he does, but still yet, he was still struggling with life, but he said, this kind of people, they should be accepted, especially if they want to work or if they want to be in the church, they should be accepted. Just the way you said, this lady, at her own pace, at her own time, she realized that, okay, this thing I am wearing is not really actually appropriate. This is not what I'm supposed to be wearing now. So, the maturity in
over time it found expression.
Over time,
yes.
You just get you just get mature to the extent that you just know this is not something, in fact, I will use myself as an example. Growing up, my dad would be like, Tante this, Tante that, that's my native name. He was always complaining about, especially what I would like to wear. And then I'm like, my mates are wearing this thing and I like it and I'm comfortable with it. Then he'll be like, this is not good. This is not, somebody will go out now and then see you like this and he'll be like, who is this girl's father? And he was actually in the seminary and we were in the seminary and all those things. And and then I grew up, I saw everything in a different way. I started working here. It became, in fact, too much, My dad was like, if there's anything I love about you working in Ekwa TV is the way they have transformed, all your wardrobe, everything you wear is now totally different. So, maturity comes with, you will know that, okay, this is not responsible and this is something that is responsible. So I just feel, my point here is, I just feel like these people should at least be given the benefit of doubt, No
doubt about it. Now, at first, when you have a little child, for instance, there are things that the child does, you tolerate, but given time, you're supposed to know that that child must have passed this stage. I have 2 kids. One is going to be 4 by April, and the other is barely 6 months.
Oh, okay.
What the one who is 6 months does, I will tolerate. If the one who is 4 does the same thing, I will not tolerate, because he has gone past that stage.
Yeah.
Do you get me? So the same thing also applies for me in faith. When someone comes to faith as a believer, there are things that, because of his or her level, he might not be able to grapple with. Is that okay? You are my own. I will allow you and groom you. My responsibility, right, will be to groom you in the way you should go. Is that okay? And I also put an eye on you so that I'll tell you, look, you've gone past this stage. If you remember XYZ lesson, it meant that you shouldn't do XYZ of things. Is that okay? And because you are growing, because you are teachable, do you get me? It puts you in a place where you begin to change things for yourself automatically. And the idea is God helping you in this process. It's not about the accumulation of knowledge. Do you get me? It's not about the accumulation of knowledge that tells you have grown. You can have someone who has read all the books, but character-wise, he's 0. When you've acquired knowledge, the place of learning comes in the place of obedience, in the place of surrender, in the place of growth. Obey what, therefore, you've learned. Ask yourself the question. And we know the truth. We cannot run away from it. We know the truth. Many times we live in denial. No, I don't like this way. I don't like the way these things happen. I'll live it my own way. Because it is convenient. Do you get me? Truth is like a pill, like Panadol. Many times, pills we take are very, very bitter. But we need them so that we can get cured. So when the truth is given to you as a believer, though it might seem very, very unpalatable, take it. It is cured to your bones.
Definitely.
Obey it. Surrender in a place. Just obey in the place of surrender. You will find out over time that it was true after all. That these things needed to be said.
In fact, I would like you to, face your camera and advise them and advise the young people out there before we leave the studio, because you have said, you have said so much that, but I want you to, have this eye contact with them, telling them exactly what you feel is your advice to them before we leave the studio.
Okay. Worship is a lifestyle. If you are a believer and you've come to faith, I think basically it follows that my primary goal will be to please God. And my primary goal, one of the focus or purpose of my being in faith, is that I grow to become like Christ. So as I seek to worship God, in other words, to please Him, am I daily becoming like Christ? That's the question you need to ask yourself. Am I aware of what to do? Now, I don't need to only prepare for church. Every opportunity, when I step out of the house, when I'm in the house, when I'm engaging or interacting with the world around me, every opportunity is a stage for you to worship God. You speak in the marketplace, you are in school, you are at work, you are in the home front, at the home front, wherever you are, it's an opportunity to worship God. So ask yourself a basic question. Whether it affects my dressing, it affects the type of song I sing, it affects how my relationships are, whatever you do, put in your mind that question. Am I worshiping God? Am I growing to be like Christ? Am I being teachable? Am I pleasing God at the end of the day?
Wow.
I think we will ask these questions daily in our lives and moment by moment. We'll find out that things that matter the heart of God will be resonating in our hearts each and every day.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're
we
welcome.
really appreciate you coming here. And this question actually is not just for you out there, it's also for me. So I really appreciate what you have for us today. And then thank you very much for staying tuned. I hope you have learned a lot from Evangel Art Show this day. And I will see you next time, of course, next week by 2 p.m. So have a great day.
ECAMS, the Evangel Arts Conference and Media Summit. The first edition was a huge success, and it is back again from the 14th to the 17th of April 2022 at the Echo International Conference Center, Jos, Plateau State. You can attend regardless of your denomination or creative area. Stay on this space for more details on ECAMS. God bless.